Good day, everyone. Welcome to our ADAPT International Convention 2023. Powered by Juwai IQI, we take you on a journey to discover the powerful realm of AI. I'm Mandy Chan, your moderator of today's topic, Navigating the AI Era, Real-World Insight for Business Success. And I would like to extend my warm welcome to our distinguished panelists, Mr. Oliver from APARA, Mr. Gavin Fong from MoneyLion, and Mr. Bayu Putra from Mimin. And not forgetting our engaged audience who are joining us virtually today. Without further ado, let's begin with our exciting conversations with our panelists today. Are you ready? Can you briefly introduce yourself, your background, your experience with AI in business? Perhaps we can start with Gavin.
Yep. So, hi everyone. I'm Gavin from MoneyLion. I'm the director of Lifecycle in MoneyLion. So, MoneyLion is a digital bank, or we call it like a virtual bank that don't have any physical branches. So, we mainly leverage on AI to power our uh, technology. So, as a director of Lifecycle, I'm mainly in charge in the customer journey end to end from the moment we acquire them to onboarding, as well as like how are we proactively retaining our customers to turn them into a loyal customers with us, and as well as like some reactivation strategy. So we are mainly using AI to help us make better decisions in terms of deciding who to target for a particular campaigns, when to target them, and what are the preferences of the users. All these we are using AI to help us make better decisions so that it can help to improve the customer experience and at the same time driving our business.
Wow, that's great. What about Bayu?
Hi everyone. My name is Bayu. I'm from Mimin. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Mimin. So what Mimin is all about is, we're essentially helping businesses to create chat journey. What we talk when we talk about chat journey, is actually, from interactions all the way to transactions. So we help businesses to re-engage with their existing customers effectively, efficiently through chat platforms. Because during these days we got a lot of channels, right? We have email, we have social media, and we have different channels all together. But I think chat platform is a very powerful platform where you can not just doing engagement, but you can also do conversion from there, right? So essentially what we do is we're putting AI into the technology for us to be able to give a better customer experience, for business to be able to give a better customer experience through chat platforms with the help of AI technology. So from engaging them, giving them a personalized offer, personalized promos, up until wrapping the deal itself. Because when we set up promos, the customer said, "Hey, I want this," right? So how do we follow up with that? So Mimin can help you to wrap up the deals all together until payments and the full. So really end-to-end a solution that we offer for businesses. And we recently just launched our generative AI chatbot. So with this Gen AI chatbot, it gives businesses, a more advanced chatbot where it's a human-like interactions, where we can, put in generative AI all together. So it doesn't feel like, we're going through all the structured chatbots like 1, 2, 3, and so on. But it's really just human-like interactions where we can read slang, we can read some, short form of words and so on. So yeah, these are the ones that we do in Mimin.
Wow, looking forward to hear more from you. What about Oliver?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Oliver Tian here, based out of Singapore. Um, I must say that my love of AI goes back to the mid-80s. At that point in time, I used to write codes to do simple natural language. Of course, today we look at large language models and generative AI in chatbots. I did credit scoring, a bit of expert systems in my early days. I spent 20 years in multinationals, so I developed that solution. I was also doing a startup that looked at the new data inputs and analytics for therapies, although the help of rehabilitation. So nowadays, what I do is advise and startups to look at deep technology to understand how we can structure themselves, source for funds, more importantly, access. Of course, many of these startups are currently have AI, and it's going to be a very good discussion on actually what is AI and responsible use of AI. Incidentally, I'm also an AI for Good in Asia, as well as a advisor to the Responsible Technology Institute out of University of Oxford, as well as recently been invited to be part of the International Advisory Council in Uzbekistan. So there's lots of discussion on AI. Happy to share along and to have this conversation.
We certainly learned a lot from you later on. Okay, let's begin on our first part. We talk about practical AI transformations in business. And the first questions I would like to ask, particular to this respect, is how has AI transformed your respective businesses? Can you share a concrete example of an AI-driven change that significantly improved efficiency or rather customer experience?
So I'll take that first.
Yep.
I can provide an example because as I mentioned earlier, for Lifecycle, we mainly look at end-to-end journey of our customers from acquisition, onboarding, retention, and reactivation. So I'm going to give an example of how we use AI to drive a better onboarding strategies for our users. So as we all know, during onboarding, the main issues that we face is cart abandonment issues. So when users first onboard to MoneyLion, register an account, then they might start exploring the app. But the end goal of us is to convert them into monetizable users by getting them to sign up a product. So one of the main pain points faced by the team is like, how can we reduce the drop-off rate of users? Like, for example, when we observe that after more than 10 minutes from the moment a user registered with MoneyLion, they have not signed up a product. How can we better target them with providing them with the right recommendation? So here we are leveraging AI models to help us look into the past interaction of the users, what are their intent, how they interact with the app in their first 20 minutes after registering. Then Lifecycle will figure out communications to further help to onboard them to our product, like providing them with the right value prop and personalization. So we call it like intent-driven personalized journey for different intent cohorts. And these definitely help to improve the overall registration to monetizable rate. So as we can see from our, because when we do AI experiments, we will have like control versus treatment group. So the treatment group we are seeing significantly higher in terms of their email click rates, which indicates that users find the content resonates with them better. That's why they tend to click on the emails and convert to profit to the sign up journey. So this is one of the examples that I can share on how we use AI to enhance our lifecycle journey.
Bayu, want to add on anything on this?
Well, I guess for us, right, we kind of use AI as a technology that will be able to help our clients. Eventually, if he's the product owner, he's using AI to helping the audience convert into a monetizable audience, right, customer. For us, we're doing a lot more implementing AI in the right way, in the proper way, so that it can benefit the company rather than just the technology itself. Because AI can be, I think Oliver mentioned, he's been doing it since the older days where it was much simpler, right? Now it gets more complicated, it gets more advanced. But at the end of the day, how does that help business? I think that we got to come to the bottom of it. It's not just the technology, but how we kind of convert it, deliver it in a way that it helps businesses. That's why we came up with generative AI chatbot, and we also put a bit more AI kind of like a technology within the process of when you re-engage with your customers, personalization messages, and personalization campaigns and all that. So yeah, we do AI a bit here and there, but we just want to make sure, why don't we just implement all AI? Because we want to make sure it's something that gives value, something that gives direct impact that benefits the businesses as they reach out. Oh yeah.
Yep, sounds very interesting. Well, this question I would like to ask Oliver. About AI project often come with challenges. I believe that everyone will agree with me. Could you share an instance where things didn't really go well as planned? And how has this been resolved? And what lesson do you learn from here?
Um, Implementing AI is actually a very interesting journey. So before I could answer your question, let me kind of talk a bit around the maturity of AI in organization. I normally would put them into 4 stages. First of all, is the stage whereby you're unaware what AI can do and not. Then you learn about AI, aware of what AI can do and not. Working with it, getting experience, eventually become competent with it. And over time, you could be an expert in using AI. So you go through the 4 stages. Now, the honesty become own is at which level are we at? Are we at the level whereby we are unaware, we may have read something in the journals, in the publications, think you know AI, but actually you do not. And that's one of the biggest challenges that any company will have, right? A CEO says, I want to implement AI, but you do not know what AI can do for you. You assume, and you think your CTO knows it, you think your legal team knows it, but in actual fact, the organization may not really aware of what AI can do for you. One good example is this, right? The human resourcing company came with me once and said that, whenever I've got 30 years of successful cases where I place candidates into job and they're all very happy, right? I want to automate all that. I want to build an AI system that can help my consultants become more efficient, right? And in fact, to have a higher place rate. And I looked at him and said, hey, do you know what you're talking about? Because you are not aware what AI can do, you think having 25,000, 50,000 data sets the past 30 years, that solves all your problem. I highlight to him, you may have good reference cases of successful placement, but you do not know why place candidates wrongly or why candidates that you have recommended rejected the job offer. So there's a whole blind spot that you have not dealt with, and you have not placed that data into your recommendations. Hence, you are only partially being able to place a candidate correctly. So this is one clear example whereby you think you are aware, but you are not aware. That's very scary, right? Because you can spend a lot of investment in putting the AI system together, and eventually find that it doesn't meet your needs, and both sides get frustrated. I also want to mention that at the end of the day, when you deploy AI solution, you go through few process, right? One is the awareness to out. The second thing that you need to deal with is the readiness of the organization to adopt AI, right? Maybe one person, IT department knows what AI. Your users may not be able to understand AI, right? And when the organization is not really to push for an AI deployment, what will come out with will be resistance. User resistance to adopt AI because fear that AI will displace your job. And human resistance then somehow end up entering because of years. So being able to work as a team in our organization, our job AI becomes very key. Now, applying AI is quite different from the traditional IT systems, right? The traditional functional systems we build, it's usually a very active audience of capital. We build financial systems on financial. We build a sales system only for the sales piece, or maybe the human comes to play, right? But when you build an AI system, we decide what's happening within the organization. It affects almost the entire organization. And sometimes it also affects the users, the customers who may get the outcome. So it is very important that you get all those factors. So planning an AI journey is not just drawing out some specs and expecting miracles to happen. It is a journey that you go through and you iterate. And iteration is so important. Training it out, right? When you let a child do something and over learns, and you have to unlearn is wrong and relearn. Sorry. And that builds an AI stronger and stronger. So I've shared you 2 possible case studies for AI what and they went to some challenges. But more importantly, he said you need to know whether you're ready for it. Secondly, you need to know that you have to continue to iterate and deploy AI as necessary over time. Back to you, Mandy.
That is absolutely correct. In fact, that will lead to my second part, where I would like to ask about enhancing humans with AI for better business. And these questions, I believe that Bayu can actually answer it. For AI is often seen as augmenting human capability. Can you provide a practical illustrations on how your business have harnessed AI to enhance human productivity and decision making?
Well, I think that's a very interesting one. Again, I remember just now Oliver was also mentioning about, you really get to know, you really get to understand what AI is helping you with, right? You don't just simply show in technologies. Every businesses, the CEO, the CTO, all this, they love using this new technology and they say, oh, I want this. But they, like what he said, like exactly like what Oliver said, a lot of them, they have no idea what it's all about actually, right? So that's why it really has to boil down on how can we use the technology to support the business rather than not just it's essentially it's making things more efficient, making things more effective in terms of decision making as well. I think one of the case study we have in the area of digital AI chatbot, one of the clients that uses us, um, you know, we kind of put generative AI not to essentially replace admin. The admin has to be there, right? But they for all these redundant, mundane questions and all that, right? They will be taken care by the generative AI. But the moment the question get more complicated, require more decision making and all that, it will then be done by the live admins, right, or the relevant department. But what AI helps is not just to respond accordingly and not just to give a certain set of answers, but also to collect data and really understand, summarizing what this person or what this customer needs and what they are facing and all that, so that they can give a comprehensive conclusion to the live admin, or to the relevant department and say, okay, this is the situation. So they can make the decision making better, more accurate, more faster in that sense. So those are one of the case. And the other case, I think also in terms of sending out messages, we talk about how do we send out effective messages and how do we send out effective campaign through chat marketing. AI will be able to help you to read out more analytically, like the data of the customers, what are the purchasing behaviors, what are their interests and all that. And we'll be able to give a recommendation based on certain level of activities, certain level of interest of the existing customer database that they have. So with all this, right, again, this helped a lot in decision making and make the process faster, simpler, and also the decision making to be faster as well.
Absolutely. I actually agree with what you say as well. And I believe that it's actually helped a lot in the business. Come to Gavin in your role of overseas in customers' life cycle, because you are the expertise. How have you actually harnessed AI to enhance your team productivity in terms of decision making? For instance, like what Bayu has mentioned just now.
Yeah, so I think Oliver and Bayu, they made a good point. It's like the readiness of the business to adopt AI, and we need to have a really defined use case on how are we using AI to what we want to achieve with it. Just a simple sharing, like previously when we run Lifecycle, it's not AI driven. Everything is like very we manually segment a group of users, analyze them, and send out prompts that we perceive they might be interested in. So because back then we don't really have a lot of user data for us to develop an AI model to learn their interactions. Like we send out like more than 100,000 of emails a day to different customers. So we need this kind of preliminary stage for us to collect data, whether customers prefer email over push, whether they prefer this kind of content over another product specific content. So with that, then only now we are at the stage where we start implementing some AI to enhance the day-to-day. Like for example, like what I've mentioned earlier on the onboarding case study, I'm also going to share about like how we use a referral uplift model to decide who to send the referral related kind of communications. Because all this in marketing, it comes with a budget. We have a limited campaign budget, and we need to decide which are the user group that by sending them additional bonuses, it can help them to convert. We are seeing uplift in the campaign. So with this uplift model, we are able to clearly define a group of persuadable users that with the lifecycle communication, the likelihood for them to invite their friends is higher. This is one of the example. Secondly, is also how are we using, for example, augmented analytics to help us enhance our day-to-day manual kind of analysis process to identify aha moments from our customers. Like for instance, one of the key challenges faced by the business is like how can we retain our customers' paycheck in our banking account, right? So we have observed that the likelihood for customers to churn if they have not have their paycheck in the banking account for more than 3 months, the likelihood for them to churn is higher. So with that, we use the augmented analytics models to identify patterns and trends. What are the key attributes or so-called aha that we can identify so that we can nurture that behavior to proactively retain our customers. So from there, we have identified that if we are able to have the customers to have their paycheck in the banking account for more than 4 months consecutively, then the likelihood for them to stick with the product is higher.
Yeah.
So with that, we have come up with a campaign, a different tiered campaign that run across 4 months to try to nurture that kind of behavior. And from there, we can clearly observe that after this campaign period, the treatment group who receive that incentive, the tendency for them to stay with the banking account is higher compared to those without receiving that incentive. So this is an example of how we use AI to identify patterns and traits in the data and come up with like a different campaign.
Especially nowadays, we are talking about we need to maximize our time and effort as well. Yeah, Oliver?
Let me chime in here. I think the two gentlemen has brought up a very, very important point, and that is what we call corporate memory. Yeah. When we have our staff pay of service customers, we rely a lot on our staff, our employees, the professionals to remember what worked and what didn't work. Each time an experienced staff leaves the company, it brings along with him the whole experience of the successful cases, other than the documentation into the files, right? And of course, when we put something into our files, sometimes we don't know where to find the information. The thing about AI, it builds this corporate memory. Each time you interact with the customer, it captures information, and like what Gavin and Bayu has mentioned, it's able to know what are the successful cases, right? Why it's successful, and that is kept in the memory consistently applied time and over again. But at the end of the day, being able to be consistent with your client, and like Gavin said, right, customer over that 4 months period of paycheck. And if somebody runs 2 months dry, it's an alert that can be sent out to management to do something about it. Look at it this way, right? Now we have an organization, and when you're 2 months, you literally have maybe 40, 50 child you're trying to develop. Some of the child from more experience leave the company. Then you retrain people again. But with AI, you train an AI child, like all the memories of every segment gains or expert experience. And this AI brain, AI child do not need. We continue to tap on this consistent memory of success rate and apply it again and again. Now that's very powerful, right? Question is, we want to make sure this child does not go wrong and be responsible to the company, otherwise information to the company. So this is actually so important, right, for a company's success. And if I would recommend that this becomes the PA performance indicator for the success of any AI deployment company. I just want to share that brief note with both to reinforce what Gavin and Bayu have shared.
That is awesome. Come to the third questions. I want to get Bayu's opinion. How do you see the balance between human customer service representative and AI chatbots in providing excellent customer experience?
I think that's a very interesting point, and it's a very important point as well. As I mentioned earlier, you can't replace human. You know, there's no way you just putting chatbots AI and just relying on chatbot AI to deliver a successful or exceptional customer experience. It has to be a combination of these two, right? You know, at the front facing level, yeah, things are moving fast. Even for us, right? We used to live. I know we all like still very young, but I believe we all remembered on the day we had to wait a couple of minutes for a page to load. The internet was that slow, right? But now things are very fast, and if it's just 30 seconds that they still didn't load up, you know, you just kind of like can't wait, right? You know, the connection very slow and so on. And it's just the same like to our customers, to the customers of all the businesses, right? When they text it or they reach out to the business, they want immediate reply. They want instant reply, right? And AI chatbot will be able to do just that, not just giving a reply by human reply by, you know, maintaining, you know, at least the customer experience is maintained, you know, the engagement is maintained. But at the end of the day, as the questions get deeper, as the need get more complicated, you know, you need human intervention. That you need the live admin to intervene and say, "Hey, I can help you with this," you know. But at least, you know, at the very front gate, you know, you have all this technology, AI chatbot, all this to will be able to help you to, you know, maintain that presence of the company to the customers, and kind of like handle the first initial questions, right? If it's sorted out by AI alone, that's good. But you know, we know that you know, problem can get more complicated than how they expect to be, and a lot of our cases are new cases as well. Like we've never faced this before and so on. That's where the human, the live admin will have to intervene, right? So I think, but again, just to conclude that, for me, it really has to be a combination between two. And companies, as they engage with AI, whether it's for chatbot or whether it's data processing, you know, summarizing, personalization, and so on, the companies need to really understand and agree to some point what they're actually looking for, you know, by harnessing internet technology. I think Oliver, in the first question, he already mentioned that, hey, there was this person coming to me and say, "Oh, I want this," and then he shoot back the question and say, "What do you want? What do you know what you're talking about?" But that's exactly the case, right? Even as you know, we actually met in one of the event like 3 months ago, and back in that event, I also met someone and said, "Hey, Bayu, since you guys are using this chatbot AI, development chatbot AI, I want you to help me develop a chatbot system, chatbot AI system to replace all these humans, live admins that I have." I said, "There's no way." So there's no way. I mean, it really takes a lot of time just to do that. But and again, you know, there's no way you can replace, because again, like I said, the cases that are just so complicated, and yeah, it gets deeper. And I can help you with some certain way, but the life admin has to be.
You are absolutely right. Oliver, you spoke about humans being the master of technology. I'm wondering, like, how can individual embrace this idea and stay relevant in an AI-powered world?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I've been a advocate of that message that we humans must always be the masters of technology rather than slave to technology. It's so critical because there are only things that we humans can do that machines cannot do. I know we've been talking about machines or AI displacing human jobs. I definitely want to debunk that. At this point in time, maybe in the next 10 years, 20 years, or 50 years to come, I do not believe an AI system can replace a human as long as the humans stay human. And that's very important. Why do I say that? Because we humans have skill of adaptability and survival. We know if something or we adapt, we change. It is those that who do not change, prefers to stay in the backdated world, uh, and then you are too comfortable in your zone that you find the world has changed, you know, right? So as long as we do not fall into comfort zone and will back adapt and change, we will become masters of AI. And why do I say that? I believe in anything that happens, humans are able to react. So when Mandy asked me a question, I am acting your question, right? And the way I react is very simple breakdown process. One is I reason to myself why you ask me, what are you looking for, right? And I do some analytics within me to appreciate the direction you want me to go into. With all those information, then I will act according to what makes sense. So when we react to any situation in our life, right, we reason and we act. And that's a very important task that humans can perform well. And it is for the same reason that we know how to deal with uncertainty. If something has not happened before, we humans are able to sit down and think how to deal with it. We analyze, we reflect, we do what's best for us to take the next step. If you look at the whole theory and understanding AI today, it's still very much based on past cases. Even if you ask ChatGPT, it tells you that, okay, my library is limited to 2021. Although ChatGPT 4 is on beyond that now. Right? But it's reliant on past cases and it has not happened before. The machine is not able to provide you with a reasonable answer or a correct answer. Now, back to the question about how can we ensure that we are able to become masters of technology. I always believe that AI should augment human capability. And in one of your early questions, you alluded to it, right? How do you look at augmenting human capability? And augmenting human capability is so important because each of us will have an efficient, ideal state of performance. Let's call it one, right? Stage one. So many of us are probably at a stage whereby maybe with 0.2, 0.5, 0.7, 0.9, but we are not there yet. And that's why we try to get to that perfect state of one. So augmentation means that you are able to leverage technology, particularly AI, bring us from 0 to 1. Think of it this way, right? It meets everybody's needs. Not all of us at 0.5 or 0.6. But at a different stage, and like AI is able to open our capability to bring us to 1. And if we achieve 1, of course, our manager is happy, our leadership is happy, we both now can be a lot more efficient. Is it the end? No. Think of 0 to 1, 1 plus. Now, I say plus because there's no within. Could be 1.5, it could be 1, 8, 2, could be 3, can be 4, can be 10. Technology should be able to help us realize the extent of the potential beyond what we can possibly do. I will close off by drawing you one of the movies I enjoy a lot is Star Trek. I enjoy it when Captain Kirk holler and say computer, blah 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 blah. The computer will do all the analytics, all the reasoning for him. Then he looks at his staff, asks more. Eventually, he was the master of technology. He made a decision, take certain action. Right? And most of the time, as human, he was able to make the better decision and deal with uncertainty and deal with what is unknown. So I encourage all users of AI not to be afraid of AI, to look at AI as a tool that can bring us from 0 to 1. And if we have achieved that we desire, go for a 1 plus. If we keep that thinking in our head, we will not be afraid of this. In fact, we will enjoy and love technology because it is there when and extend the capability. Back to you, Mandy.
Thank you very much for your feedback and suggestions. Gavin, do you have anything to add on related to this?
I'm good for now.
Thank you. Here is the last part. We talk about ethical AI for responsible business. And my questions is, as AI become more integrated into business processes, how can companies ensure ethical use and transparency? Can you offer a practical suggestions, Oliver?
Sure, sure. In fact, this is a very good topic. In my role as the advisor for AI for Good in Asia, we talk a bit about this, particularly what we want to emphasize on is explainable AI. Whatever decision that the AI, there has to be a reason, there has to be a now or a breakdown how things move, especially when you deal with AI for good, social good that is. We want to know why we've been. In my role as the American Technology Institute in UK, I guess the Western European experience around the whole trustworthiness, more importantly, how do we ensure there's sufficient transparency in the adoption of AI. So we talk about those issues, particularly in start to build upon uh, the adoption of AI. The question comes out, given that in our financial system, we have audits, financial audits, right? Auditors come in once a year to check our financial books to make sure that everything is posted correctly, whether there's net motivation for impairments, and so on and so forth. So can we not have AI audit? If you deploy AI solutions, just right that because it's so important, just like the financial system is to the organization. And if AI starts to permeate not the entire organization, it's just as important to have an AI audit to go through some of the processes and disciplines that the AI system performs, and why. It is the system to explain why some of actions are taken, so that we can give it a trustworthy drafting. And if there's any particular observation, something didn't sound quite right in this decision, the customer did get upset after all, and try to interact accordingly. We have to find out why, and that will lead to the iteration of AI system that where it will improve on the AI system, and you can use the input to get to do better. Again, I bring back the child, right? I'm not reading an AI child, and the AI child will learn and improve. If it does something wrong, somebody got to tell the AI child that something's wrong, something's not right, and how to correct the child, the AI also gets on better and better. Eventually, it's the AI within the business, right, is able to be responsible, transparent, and trustworthy in it takes. So the concept of an AI audit is something that is important, and probably the same material countries, developed countries take that responsibility. I can quote a particular organization called Ethical AI. Ethical AI, name of a company, which got two offices, one in Bristol and one in London. And all the company does is look at the ethical and responsible use of AI technology. It does audits, right? If somebody comes in and say, I want to implement AI for resourcing, for customer surveys, and so on and so forth, right? How do we know? Is there index? Is there a parameter we can measure to say that your AI system, this AI system is trustworthy? And I think that kind of practice should be shared globally. I advocate that. In fact, anybody who introduces AI into their organization and turn to me as a consultant, I tell them that it's important to have that. Of course, you can have an internal AI auditor and have an external AI auditor. But bottom line, I think it's important that as AI start to permeate, get more integrated into business processes, they need to ensure the ethical and transparency use of the technology. Back to you, Mandy.
Thank you, Oliver. What about Gavin?
I agree with Oliver on it's important to do the auditing part, especially like when we run campaigns. It's important to ensure that we don't have biases. Like how do we implement a process in terms of biases mitigation?
like just to ensure that we are not only targeting a specific group of users or like keeping a group out of the. So this is what we always do every time whenever we have output from the AI models. We'll see the distribution, see whether we are like excluding a particular group. And at the same time for lifecycle, we also ensure that we collect user consent whenever AI is there to collect, analyze, and provide recommendations based on their data. So we give users some kind of control over how we are using their data. So
Well, I guess it's interesting. You know, I always love how Oliver put it. Like it's like as if you are raising a child, right? And it's true enough. You gotta you only put in what you want the machine to learn. Like you only put in. You don't simply throw everything in, right? Because eventually you need some borders, some boundaries, so that they can stay focused and they can kind of like quote unquote raise properly, right? So I do believe that it has to the ethical part of it, the controlling part of it has to be done by the human. That's why I did. Human cannot be just detached altogether from AI, from technology, because the IT audit or rather the AI audit that Oliver was talking about, that Gavin was talking about, is actually done by human, right? They were the one that making sure that hey, it is aligned with how I want it to be, right? So it has to serve the right purpose. It has to serve the right objective as how we train the AI to be and how we make sure that it's within the scope that we want, right? Because a lot of times, when we tested our AI platforms, sometimes it just ran out like, hey, why, how come the machine or rather the AI replied this way, right? These are the ones that we caught up and said, oh, okay, then some the adjustment needs to be made, and all of these are the audit that we continually doing just to make sure that they can deliver the customer experience, the right customer experience as how they want it to be. So yeah, I do think that in terms of the training part, the bulking up in the AI, it has to be done continuously. There has to be someone that does work as an AI audit, making sure that it's still within the proper objective, proper response. That's how we want it. And of course, you like I mentioned earlier, you only feed what is necessary, right? So it makes sure that the AI don't blabber any information that's not supposed to be open public, right? Because we were talking about AI for the business, building it for the business, not for a chat GPT kind of thing, right? So yeah, it has to be set up accordingly.
Wonderful sharing.
Yeah, I think you mentioned a very good point there. I'd like to add on to what you just say. Yeah. So essentially, one big challenge that we face today is what are the guidelines for the country? What are the codes that we need to follow? Where are the standards? In the accounting practice, what about accounting is there's a lot of years and years of experience into the policies. Unfortunately for AI system, really, and secondly, moving so fast, we are not able to establish necessary guidelines and framework for auditing AI. That biggest hurdle that we face as we run up against time. As more and more people start to pop in. Because the challenge is going to be, right, more and more jobs pop in without the basic framework, then you're going to have a bit of a rojak. Then auditing rojak becomes bigger to big than anything else. So I thought I wanted to add in that one pairing, what both Gavin and Bayu has shared, because it's just so important. This topic is just so important. Ethical and responsible use of AI systems.
Thank you for highlighting this. Well, we go towards the closing part, and I believe the audience has actually learned a lot from our three panelists. Here is my questions. What is the most exciting AI-driven possibility that you foresee for businesses in the near future?
I'll just start. I think for my line of business, I mean, what we provide, Mimin, we talk about now this year. In fact, last year we don't talk much about AI until GPT comes out. Then a whole different sets of conversation, a whole different kind of animal comes out, right? Then we have generative AI. Then I think next year we will, I think US already started, but next year we're hoping to see more voice. So I think voice generating AI is, I think it's going to be very something. It's just powerful and just different because we kind of tested it already. And it's just, it's just exciting that if we can actually get into that direction, as how US has already done it. Yeah.
For my case, I think I'm pretty excited to see how we can better use AI to achieve that kind of like hyper personalization. Right now, we have talked about a lot of personalization use cases, but most of them are pretty targeted based on different segmentation. It's still not hyper personalized yet. So businesses, I think definitely they are looking forward to like how they can better implement AI models to personalize the whole customer experience. Like for instance, when like dynamic pricing, like when we do hotel booking based on the customer's behavior or the demand, how can we dynamically like show the offers?
Right.
All these are some of the pretty exciting use cases that I foresee will definitely get improved.
Well, in one sentence, what would your key advice be for businesses that are embarking on their AI journey? Oliver, would you want to put an answer on it?
I want to add on to what Gavin and mentioned about exciting things moving forward. I believe today most of the applications are very narrow. That in one specific domain, in one domain only. Cross-domain and general intelligence with direct experience, and I believe that's coming. I believe it's coming. I guess in closing, if that value suggestion, one recommendation I have for the audience is, don't fall into the position that you think you know AI before you know it. Many people think they know AI, but I spent almost 40 years with AI, and today I still find that there's so much in mystery AI that I do not understand. So if anybody walks out and say, I know AI, AI, I think he may be expert in the area or domain, but he will not know enough about AI and how big this monster can be. I hope the audience keep that in mind.
So I'll add on top. And I think from what Oliver has mentioned, businesses should definitely consider AI as a complement, not a replacement. In that way, we can kind of like cultivate AI literacy and encourage the organization to continuously learn.
Well, for me, I guess something that I always remind myself, say this or to clients as well, just remind our clients that, you gotta really see AI not just as a cool and fancy technology that you want to embark on, but really you gotta find the real reason why are you using it and how does AI solve your problem. If it doesn't solve your problem, it's not worth having it in a company at the end of the day, because you're making big investment in that. And not just money, but also effort, a lot of infrastructure that might need to get affected as well, in terms of how the way things work and so on. So yeah, before jumping into it, don't just jump into it for the sake of technology, for the sake of coolness of AI, but really how you see the AI helps you.
That is wonderful. To wrap up today's sessions, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our distinguished panelists for your valuable insights towards AI in business. We are grateful for your contributions and not forgetting our audience participations. In conclusion, AI is more than tech. I would say it's a catalyst for change. Let's embrace AI's potential so that we can grow and shape the future together. Once again, thanks for Oliver, Bayu, and Gavin for your great sharings, and not forgetting the support from the audience. All the best to all of you, and we look forward to see you on our next Adapt 2024. I'm Mandy Chan, signing off now. Take care. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.